I'll never forget the boy from our town, the one they called Ash. It wasn't his real name, but no one used that anymore. It didn't seem to matter after what happened. Ash was like any other kid, curious and stubborn, always chasing after things he didn't understand. But there was something different about him, something darker, something that drew people's attention in ways they couldn't explain. He had a knack for wanting the wrong things, for fixating on what he couldn't or shouldn't have. It started small. Ash wanted a shiny knife he'd seen in the market. His parents told him no, warned him about how dangerous it was. But Ash didn't care. He stole it, hiding it under his mattress. The first time he used it, he sliced his palm open so deeply the scar never healed. But the knife wasn't enough. It was never enough. The thing that finally unraveled him came one autumn, after the fair arrived in town. They set up their tents on the outskirts, a kaleidoscope of colors and lights. Everyone went to see the fire dancers, the fortune tellers, the strange artifacts on display. Ash found something there, something no one else noticed. It was a small glass box, no larger than a shoebox, sitting on a table in the corner of one of the tents. Inside, a tiny flame flickered, trapped without fuel or air. The man running the stall didn't advertise it, didn't even acknowledge it unless someone asked. "What's that?" Ash had asked, pointing at the box. The man's face darkened. "Not for you, boy. Leave it be." But Ash couldn't. He came back the next day, and the day after that, always staring at the flame in the glass box. Something about it called to him, whispered to him in ways no one else could hear. Finally, on the last night of the fair, he stole it. No one knows how he managed it. The man who owned the flame was furious, tearing through the fairgrounds in search of the thief. But by then, Ash was already gone, hiding in the woods. That's where they found him. I was one of the search party. His parents were frantic, sobbing as we combed the trees, calling his name. It was just past midnight when we saw the glow, soft at first, like a lantern in the distance. But as we got closer, the light grew brighter, harsher, until we had to shield our eyes. Ash was standing in the middle of a clearing, holding the glass box, or what was left of it. The glass had shattered, and the flame inside was no longer small. It had grown, wrapping around Ash's body like living tendrils. He didn't scream. He didn't even move. He just stood there, his eyes wide and empty, as the fire consumed him. The others fled, but I couldn't. I was frozen, watching as the flames licked at his skin, burning away everything they touched. But it wasn't just his body they devoured. It was him. The flame wasn't natural. It didn't flicker or waver like normal fire. It moved with purpose, with hunger. And as it burned, it whispered. "Now you see," it said. "Now you know." Ash collapsed, his body crumbling into ash, just like his name. But the flame didn't die. It lingered, floating in the air like a living thing, before darting toward me. I ran. The fair was gone the next morning, packed up and vanished as though it had never been there. The clearing where we found Ash was empty, but I could still feel the heat in the air, still hear the whispers in the wind. People say I imagined it, that I made up the story to explain Ash's disappearance. But I know the truth. Ignorance is a fire, and it burns deeper than flesh. It devours the soul, leaving nothing behind but ashes and the endless, empty craving for something we should never have wanted.